Hi everybody. It's a beautiful day today in my neighborhood by the lake. I hope it's a beautiful day wherever you are too. I thought on this beautiful, warm, sunny day with the lake behind me, I should go swimming. Doesn't that sound like fun? But I have to confess something. I'm not the strongest swimmer in the world, so when I want to get ready to go swimming, I need to get prepared. I need to plan in advance, especially if I'm going to spend the whole day out on the water. So I have my hat so I don't burn the top of my head, and I have my sunscreen, and well, I have toys for the water too, and I have my towel, and I also have my pool noodle because it helps me when I'm in the water, especially if I'm in there for a long time and I get tired. I don't want to sink. No, that would be a bad idea. But this pool noodle helps keep me up, and I trust it to help keep me up. You know, it would be really cool if we could just walk on the top of the water, wouldn't it? And then we would never sink to the bottom. Today's story is a little bit like that. You'll remember last week we talked about Jesus and him feeding the 5,000 people. That still blows my mind. But anyway, after that meal was over, Jesus told his disciples to get in their boats and go out onto the Sea of Galilee and go to the other side. He told them he'd meet them. And he went up into the mountain and he prayed for a little while. Jesus did that a lot. Well, on this particular day, a storm blew in, and I can only imagine it was dark and cloudy, and maybe there was thunder and lightning. That's kind of scary, right? And maybe it was raining a lot. Anyway, the waves got really big, and the water was not calm at all. And so the disciples were out in their boats, and I imagine they were bobbing up and down and maybe a little bit afraid, because I don't know whether they were really good swimmers either. Anyway, along to the side of the Sea of Galilee came Jesus. And when the disciples saw him, they were afraid at first that it was a ghost, because Jesus was walking on the water, on top of the water. Well, they didn't know what this was supposed to mean. And it was Peter, one of the disciples, who piped up and he said, "You don't look like a ghost, but if you're really who you say you are, if you're really Jesus, then tell me to come out and meet the boat." So Jesus just looked and he held out his hands to Peter and he said, "Come." And he got out of the boat and he started walking along the water. Peter was walking on top of the water too. And Jesus said, "Just keep your eye on me." And Peter did, and he kept on walking, and he kept on walking on top of the water. Now there's another miracle for you. All of a sudden though, maybe it was the storm around him, maybe it was the other disciples calling from the boat, but for whatever reason, Peter stopped looking at Jesus. He took his eye off Jesus, and suddenly he started to sink into the water, just like I might do if I didn't have my pool noodle. Anyway, Jesus said, "Look at me, Peter. Have faith. Trust in me." And Peter started looking at Jesus again, and he was all right. He could walk on top of the water. Now, you and I can't walk on top of the water. No, that doesn't happen. Maybe some year down the road they'll invent something that will help us. But for right now, we need to be careful and wear our life jackets or take our pool noodles. But beyond just being out on the water, every day of our life, I think this is a good message that we need to keep our eyes on Jesus, our eyes on God. Now, we can keep our eyes on Jesus by continuing to follow his word. We've talked all spring and summer about the amazing advice that Jesus left with us. It's all written in the Gospels, in the Bible. Tell me some of those things that you can think of. Right? Yeah, the Golden Rule, the 10 Commandments, and what's the best commandment that Jesus left us with? Love one another as I have loved you. So that's your message for this week. You need to try to follow all that good advice. Keep your eyes always on Jesus and on God, because we can trust that they will keep us afloat. They won't let us sink. We may have hard times, but if we keep our eyes on God, we'll be safe and we'll be okay. Now, let's get into the water. See you guys.